Hey, we're in our new Christmas series, All I Want for Christmas, and what we're doing is transforming our want list to our need list. The first thing we need is good news. I don't know about you, but I could use some good news for Christmas, right? That's the entire message of Christmas. Remember the Christmas story in Luke chapter 2 when the shepherds get the message that Jesus has been born in Bethlehem and they're to go and see. The shepherds are surrounded by angels all of a sudden saying, "Don't be afraid. I bring you good news of great joy for all the people." And this concept of good news we see all throughout the rest of the New Testament. In fact, in Luke alone, let me just show you a few other scriptures. Luke chapter 4, verses 18 through 19. This is Jesus in his ministry now, and he says that he's been sent to proclaim the good news to the poor. In Luke chapter 4, verse 43, he says, "I must preach the good news to the kingdom of God, to other towns as well, not just the one he was in at that point." In Luke chapter 8, verse 1, I'm just going to take you through this, and I would encourage you to look up some of these on your own. It says, "Soon after, he went on throughout all the cities and villages, proclaiming and bringing the good news of the kingdom of God." In Luke chapter 9, verse 6, we keep going. It says, "The disciples departed and went through all the villages proclaiming the good news." So Jesus then began to send the disciples out to proclaim the good news. In Acts, the story of the early church, 15 times we're told that they proclaimed the good news. We see that this was part of the early church, was continue to share the good news. And then Paul shares with us in Romans chapter 10, verse 15, that we must go out and preach the good news. And he even says, "Beautiful are the feet of those who bring the good news." Here's why I'm doing all this. I want you to think about one thing. Who brought the good news to you in your life? Who shared the good news with you? That good news that the shepherds heard that very first night when Jesus was born. The good news that Jesus preached throughout his ministry. The good news that the disciples spread. The good news that the early church continued to spread. Who shared that good news with you? Maybe it was one person. Maybe it was lots of different people. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this week, and I want you to call if you can, or write a letter if the person's still alive or living. Send an email. And I want you to thank that person or those people for sharing the good news with you. And then I want you to do this. I want you to ask yourself, who am I sharing the good news with? Who have I shared the good news with? And who do I need to share the good news with? That's taking the next step when it comes to good news.